What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and today we have an interview with Chris Dupreez from thechiaplot.net. We are going to be covering the trademark infringement, allegations from Chia Networks to the blog that he runs. And basically, you'll be able to get a good idea of what happened, how that all took place. I've confirmed it with both him forwarding me emails and doing a remote session showing me complete control of the WordPress blog as well as the DNS, etc., just to confirm that he is the owner of it. And from there, just enjoy the video right after a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is CDK Deals. To get great deals on Windows 10 Pro keys, check out the links in the description. To activate, it's as simple as going to cdkdeals.com using the link in the description and then searching for Windows 10 Pro. From here, you just need to click Buy Now. Then you can sign up for a quick and easy account. Don't forget to type in your promo code, which is SOT20, and click Submit Order. From here, you can pay with FastPay, PayPal, credit card, etc. Once you have completed your purchase, head on over to the User Center. Once processing is complete, you will be able to get your key to activate Windows. Your key will be located in your account under My Purchased Orders. You will click View Keys and Codes, click Get the Key, and then you will copy the code. Next, head on over to Windows, search in Cortana for activation settings. Click on Change Product Key and use Control-V to paste the code into the box. Click Next, then click Activate, and your copy of Windows will be activated. No more pesky watermark. To get 20% off your Windows 10 Pro purchase, don't forget to check out the affiliate link down in the description and use promo code SOT20 when signing up. Alrighty, so real quick before we get into this interview, there has been an update to this whole trademark Chia plot story or narrative. So before we get into it, so you guys have some perspective on how Chia has handled it, essentially Chia has gone ahead and dropped the whole trademark thing with the thechiaplot.net. And here you can see Chia Networks drops all claims against the Chia plot. Last night, my lawyer, this is Chris Dupreez, he sent this over to me, Paul Levy, received a response to his demand that Chia Networks drop the trademark and other ridiculous claims against this website. The response was gracious and polite and releases my site from their claims. It is excellent to see that Chia Networks has correctly determined that journalism about their company is not an infringement on their rights or of their rights. And I hope they can redirect the energy they have spent fighting the community back into the excellent product they have developed. So there is also, of course, the official documentation here on this blog. And what I will be doing is attaching, the link to thechiaplot.net for you guys to go ahead and check out. That being said, I do think that there are some other things you can gather from, of course, the backstory as well as what all went down and the possible ramifications for pools still in this interview. So go ahead and check it out, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome back, son. So today I have joining me Chris Dupreez, who is the, creator of the thechiaplot.net. If you guys aren't familiar, basically what happened, last week, does that sound right? A couple weeks ago. I think I got wind of it last week, so that's why I thought that. The thechiaplot.net received basically a request to change the domain name from the developers themselves of the Chia network. Is that correct?
They're head of IP, yeah. So representing the company.
Okay, representing the company. And essentially, the website, if you guys aren't familiar with it, is a WordPress blog at this point covering Chia. Nothing like, it's not a pool, nothing like that. He has blog posts about Chia. You have some how-tos up there for plotting, etc. So nothing really crazy out of the norm. And then on Twitter, is it Chia to the Moon? Is that also one of your accounts, or is that just on the? Okay, that's just covering the latest Chia price.
That was just my way. My easiest way of getting the price put on was to put a Twitter feed.
Got it. Okay. So tell us a little bit about, if you want to expound upon my description of the site, and then from there, kind of give us the rundown on what happened here.
Sure. Okay. So my background is a little bit more like yours than some of the other people in the crypto space, I guess, where I'm a cloud architect. And so this was actually an exercise in getting to refamiliarize myself with AWS. So I have some work I can't talk about, but that I needed to refamiliarize myself with US Docker. So I was going to deploy a website and harden it and go through that process and document it. So I was getting into Chia farming. I decided to just throw together a Chia website, bought a domain name, thechiaplot.net, because I thought it sounded cute because Chia plots, it's nice.
Yeah.
And then, I put a couple of posts on, and then I don't know how much you pay attention to the space, but there are a lot of people out there that do not understand the hardware that they are getting into, whether it's because they're only focused on like graphics cards and that part of computer hardware for mining, or because they're just not used to it. So a lot of people are thinking like, if I hit the TBW on my SSD, the thing's just going to blow up, or just things like that. Like that's the minimum. That it's going to go past that, and you're good. But so I put a blog post up, and I got some traction about that, and that was interesting. So at that point, I'm like, I'm probably going to keep doing this. This is fun. So 4 days after I started the blog post, I got a letter. I woke up in the morning to a letter from the head of IP from Chia Networks saying that I had to either accept a license from them or change the name and stop talking about Chia. Like, stop using the word Chia on my site, which would be tough to talk about Chia without using the word
actually
Chia.
don't talk about Chia on the site at all.
Don't use our marks, basically. And one of their marks is the word mark for Chia, right? So
Okay. Well,
that's
that's
effectively
weird.
what they were.
So are they going to do
That's
that to every other blogger and every other coin that like
I
does that apply to YouTube videos referencing? That's interesting.
I don't know. And I think it's because I had it in the domain name, right? They made a
Right.
big deal about how they didn't want people like the Chia something and everything like that. Honestly, I didn't know any of that when I got into this. I started farming. I didn't pay too much attention. I didn't even know that the guy who started BitTorrent was like doing this. Like that was I was that. So I didn't look up anything like this, like their trademark, how much they cared or anything like that. I just started a cute little blog, got a legal threat from them. And honestly, I'm not going to take a license from them. That feels like a death blow to a news site about someone, to be beholden to the company that you're writing about. That doesn't seem super objective to me. Plus, I'm really ornery. So I basically just, anytime someone tells me I have to do something, my instinct is to say, no.
Yeah. So you own the domain though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what legal ramifications do they have with you if you own the domain? I mean, like they can't forcibly take over the domain without going through legal action, right? At this point, that sort of
Well,
thing.
that was their theory, right? And then anyway, so I told them no. I posted the letter that they had sent to me and
Hmm.
sort of went on with my day, and that got a bunch of traction because that's what happens. And then later that night, I got a much more threatening letter from their legal team, like not any one person this time, accusing me, saying I was registered in the EU and accusing me of GDPR violations. So I'm a security architect, like by trade. So that's actually like pretty serious to be accused of for me. So at that point, I went and talked to some people I know and got a lawyer, and that that's actually pretty cool. He's like a really famous lawyer that I was like aware of before. He's done a lot of this stuff. He's the Paul Levy for Public Citizen.
Okay.
So he's litigated a lot of these like little website owners getting bullied by people all over the country. And anyway, so he took a look at it. He said, I'm not running ads. I'm not using their logo. I'm not selling any services. This is a personal site. I am definitely not infringing anything. And at that point, I felt a lot better. And ever this has not been stressful anymore, and has been a little bit of fun because from my perspective, I started this as a lark. The site's doing fairly well now, so it's fun in that sense. But even if it were to all go away, it was never supposed to not go away. So I don't really know why they decided to go after me, and they haven't like retracted anything yet. So as far as I know, like they still want to go to court.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Like fully,
Right. Yeah.
honestly, I doubt they do. But I haven't heard anything. My lawyer hasn't heard anything. So
And you talk to your lawyer and know what you can say and can't say and all that, so we're safe there.
he's again, from his perspective, I haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
He's not to. If I were to go and slander them here, that's separate from this, and I'm not going to. I quite like them. I think that this was a rookie mistake. That they're not really sure what they're doing.
Did they give you a reason at all? No.
No.
I find it very odd because they're applying this to pools as well, right? Pool operators now.
So that I think they have a claim on. So they do have. It's not registered yet, but it's approved or whatever in that process. It hasn't been rejected. A trademark on the word Chia as it relates to financial services, cryptocurrency services, and computer services.
Okay.
And so I'm not doing any of those things, so I'm okay. But like my lawyer said, don't start selling Bitcoin on your website because they're going to come down on you
or
hard.
offer Chia farming services or anything like that, right?
Anything like that.
So as long as you don't sell, it's okay under trademark. But then under your understanding is they have a claim to pools because there is, I guess, some sort of commerce being performed on those sites, right? So the trademark will take it. Is the trademark coming from the company or the network, right? So that's another question I had.
Well, I'm not super clear about the difference, to be honest, right? Like, so there's Chia Networks Inc., who holds all the trademarks. I believe that is the legal entity that is like the developers that they are trying to IPO.
Okay.
But as far as I know, they own two companies, right? Like, I watched your video with Bram about the pre-farm there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it wasn't super clear to me what he was saying in terms of how they have the segregation. I had some super concerns after that video separately from that, but like I don't know what part of it cares, if that makes any sense. Like they seem to have a complicated structure for a startup.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the network owns the marks or if the IPO, if the investment vehicle, I guess, for lack of a better word, that they're pushing here, owns the investment vehicle. Otherwise, why?
Yeah.
But
the whole project is quite confusing and does have quite a few red flags. This one being one of them. So
I don't know anything about crypto. Like, so I mined crypto, like Bitcoin, back when I could mine it on CPUs.
Yeah, I got you.
So like and then
that would be a no emission release, right? So no pre-mine or anything like that. And then Ethereum would be the example of a pre-mine, right? The argument lately these days is there's no need for a pre-mine. And then I think the argument from the biggest detractors of Chia, their concern is that there's a pre-farm. And then on top of that, there's the investment, right? So they have the pre-farm, which increases the value of the company. And then they have outside investment, which also increases the value of the company, which is not to be confused with, if I understand correct, the network, right? So the Chia network or whatever. So,
not to be confused with, yeah.
Which is why I said it's red flags, because like anytime it gets that confusing, especially within cryptocurrency where they're usually held, like at least blockchains are held to the standard of like the Bitcoin white paper, the idea that this is for the people, it's being developed for the people, and it goes out on release.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I think Chia is doing something different here, because another misconception along the lines there was this was meant for people to farm from their homes, when in fact, like initially, if you read the white paper, they were targeting over provisioned storage, specifically cloud storage. And he's talked about that before. So it's really hard to, when I say red flags, I guess the red flags I'm referring to are from the perspective of a typical cryptocurrency enthusiast or trader, right? Coming into the space. If you went and read a white paper, after the 2016 to 2018 bubble, and you saw anything that said pre-mine, airdrops, which they're against airdrops, just to be clear. I'm just saying, if you read anything that had those words in it, you automatically put up a red flag, and that kind of got put in your bucket of not sure if this is legit or not, right? And that's kind of after Ethereum, because Ethereum took that model and pretty much proved that that model would work. So there is some legitimacy there, right? That being said, a lot of people still don't like Ethereum for it, especially if you consider the amount of Ethereum that they still hold versus the amount of Ethereum that's in circulation. And then to compound on that, they basically proved with the whole Vida getting the Shiba token to his cold storage that they aren't supposedly be able to access, or that it's harder to access, and then he dumped it from there. They pretty much did prove, or at least someone has proved, that those pre-farmed funds are accessible, right? Like, it's not like they're so difficult to get a hold of that you can't. So then you sit here and you see 90% of it being locked up, and that's a concern. And then you see things like people, like the trademark issue is very odd, because you would think that the thechiaplot.net would only be positive for Chia, right? And it doesn't have to do with pools, which my kind of assumption on them having pools not use it was essentially because maybe they would have some official pools that they wanted those for, right? Like, I don't know, that it could be like chiafarm.com or whatever. Maybe they want those because that's what they're going to put their pools on. It's very interesting that I didn't actually know at first until I went to thechiaplot.net that it was just a blog, which is even to me more surprising that they would even do anything. It's absolutely insane. So thanks definitely for coming on and kind of giving us the rundown on it. Do you have any final thoughts?
Well, I think that this whole thing has been like, I think they're growing bigger than they know what to do with. And I think that this like is them trying to be an enterprise without really knowing what that means. Like, oh, we have to have our lawyers handle legal things, and you know, Bram coming on your show and really confusing the issue more, and going on Twitter and like making people really nervous and stuff like that. Like, it seems like he wants to be they want to be a Silicon Valley star, but what they're trying to do is actually build like a central bank for some sort of cryptocurrency market, and for a cryptocurrency ecosystem like Ethereum, right, where they can like have this banking system, financial system, or whatever. But I don't think that they can have both things. Like, I don't, like, you work from my understanding, you know, some of these big companies and everything like that, they're not going to work with Silicon Valley superstars on some actual serious financial project. They're going to work with finance people. So you got to act like a banker, and bankers don't do this kind of stuff. They would have ignored me, or if they really didn't want me to exist, they would have used money, not, and quietly and started with an NDA or something like
Yeah.
the things that companies do, not.
Yeah, invite you in, say, hey, sit down. Can you sign this NDA real quick? Okay,
Yes.
Now let's go ahead and talk about this. Yeah, I actually find it surprising after all this, too, that I even got permission from Bram to record, which I did. And I'm actually kind of seeing this kind of stuff. I'm very confused. I am extremely confused. And it almost feels like Bram is a separate entity to what's going on with the company. And to me, that's another red flag. And that's just, I don't know that, but it feels odd. Everything feels kind of weird about the project and what's going on. But I think obviously you doing the work you do, I think obviously your blog could be super helpful to a lot of people. The read and writes and on the hard drives, good. And that's a positive thing though too right now, right? So that's, it wasn't even like you're like going on about the pre-farm or anything like that, and it's interesting. So thanks for coming on for sure. I'll make sure that I get like the verifications from you on like the site and stuff like that after this. And then thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next Tuesday. If you enjoyed this content, you can watch more by clicking this playlist up here, or go ahead and subscribe.